Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
What if everything you've ever known, your job, your social media feed, even your daily routine, is nothing more than a meticulously crafted illusion? What if the world around you is designed to keep you distracted, numb, and obedient? You feel it, don't you? That gnawing sensation that something is off. Like you're playing a game where the rules are rigged, and no one told you the objective. This isn't paranoia. It's the realization creeping into millions of minds worldwide. The world feels fake because, in many ways, it is. And once you've seen behind the curtain, there's no going back. Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. Why does the world feel like a simulation? Why do so many people, after waking up spiritually, feel lost, isolated, and even trapped? Today, we unravel the hidden mechanisms that create this artificial sense of reality, and, more importantly, reveal how you can break free and thrive once you've awakened. By the end of this journey, you'll not only understand why the world feels fake, but you'll have the tools to navigate this illusion with clarity, purpose, and power. Think about it. You've felt it before. The emptiness behind endless scrolling, the hollowness in chasing status, the unsettling realization that your existence is spent fulfilling someone else's agenda. That's not an accident. It's by design. The question is, what happens when you wake up? What happens when you can't unsee the strings pulling at every corner of your life? That's what this documentary is about. But before we dive deep, consider this. If the world truly is an illusion, then every single structure you rely on, social, economic, spiritual, is just part of a grand deception. And yet, despite that, there is a way to not only survive but thrive. The blueprint exists, and by the time we reach the end, you'll have it. So, let's begin. The world feels fake because it is built on layers of illusion so dense, most never notice. From birth, we're handed a script: get an education, find a job, buy things you don't need, climb ladders that lead nowhere, and seek validation from strangers who are just as lost. Every system, media, corporations, governments, feeds this illusion. Not because they're evil masterminds, but because an awake, self-empowered population is harder to control. The Matrix analogy isn't just a sci-fi trope. It's a mirror. Every ad, every headline, every algorithm is a carefully crafted signal telling you who to be, what to want, and how to feel. Hyperreality, a concept defined by philosopher Jean Baudrillard, explains this perfectly. We no longer interact with reality itself. Instead, we engage with endless copies of reality, social media profiles curated to perfection, news cycles designed for outrage, consumer goods marketed as self-worth. We're drowning in images, sounds, and narratives that keep us chasing shadows. The more you consume, the more disconnected you feel. Ever wonder why? It's because these constructs were never meant to nourish you. They're meant to keep you in a loop, forever seeking, never finding. Buy more, post more, work more, repeat. The reward, a fleeting hit of dopamine before the emptiness returns. And the cycle begins again. Consumerism is the modern day opium. Not because you're shallow, but because the system has conditioned you to believe that external validation is the path to happiness. The house, the car, the designer clothes, the latest phone, none of it fills the void. And deep down, you know this. That's why, even after achieving societal milestones, you still feel unfulfilled. It's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. It only makes you thirstier. But what happens when you start questioning the narrative? What happens when you realize that this endless pursuit is a distraction from something far more profound? That's when the cracks begin to show. That's when the illusion starts to break down. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Because once you've glimpsed the truth, there's no going back. And as unsettling as that may be, it's also the beginning of something far more powerful than you can imagine. Spiritual awakening isn't a blissful float into enlightenment. It's a brutal, often painful shattering of everything you thought was real. It's not the Instagram version of crystals, meditation, and positive vibes. It's standing at the edge of a crumbling world and realizing you've been lied to. Not by some grand conspiracy, but by the very fabric of society itself. What is spiritual awakening? Really, it's that moment when the noise stops making sense. When the endless chase for money, status, or validation feels hollow. It often starts with a trigger, a personal crisis, heartbreak, loss, or even an unexplainable moment of clarity. Suddenly, the things you've been conditioned to care about seem insignificant. The job that once defined you feels like a cage. The people around you, still playing the game, seem asleep. At first, it's terrifying. You feel alone, disconnected from the world you once knew. Friends drift away because they no longer understand you. Conversations feel shallow. The routines you once followed religiously now seem absurd. This is the dark night of the soul, when everything familiar dissolves, leaving you in a void. But here's the catch. This breakdown is necessary. It's the death of the false self, the ego-driven identity built on societal expectations. And as painful as it is, it's also the gateway to true freedom. During awakening, you start seeing the systems for what they are, constructs. Money, politics, even time itself, they're all human, made frameworks designed to keep society running, but not necessarily to nurture your soul. You begin questioning, who am I beyond my job, my possessions, my social status? And that question is dangerous to the system because a person who seeks truth is harder to manipulate. But this awakening doesn't come with a manual. No one prepares you for the isolation, the existential dread, or the sense that you no longer belong in the world you inhabit. It's like waking up in a foreign land where everyone else is speaking a language you no longer understand. And yet, despite the chaos, there's an undeniable clarity that emerges. A realization that while the world may feel fake, your awakening is real. And that changes everything. But why does awakening make the world feel even more fake than before? That's where we're headed next. Because understanding that will unlock the next step in your journey, navigating this illusion without losing yourself. After awakening, the world doesn't just feel fake, it feels unbearable. The masks people wear, the pointless conversations, the endless pursuit of temporary pleasures, it all becomes glaringly obvious. You see the mechanisms of control everywhere, in the news that keeps people in fear, in the mindless entertainment that numbs critical thinking, in the social norms that reward conformity and punish authenticity. What once felt normal now feels like a bad joke that everyone else is still laughing at. Why does this happen? Because spiritual awakening dismantles the constructs you once accepted without question. Before, you were plugged into the collective narrative, playing your role without realizing it. But awakening strips away those layers, exposing the machinery underneath. You begin to see that most people are driven by fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. And fear is the perfect tool for control. Society thrives on your fear. Fear keeps you working a job you hate, buying things you don't need, and seeking approval from people who don't care. But once you wake up, fear loses its grip. You start questioning everything. Why do we spend most of our lives working? Why is success measured by material wealth? Why do we sacrifice our well-being for systems that exploit us? These questions tear down the comforting illusions that kept you complacent. Ego plays a massive role in this. Your ego is the voice that says, I need to be accepted, I need to achieve, I need to be better than others. It's the driving force behind competition, status, and identity. But awakening exposes the ego as just another construct, a survival mechanism, not your true self. And when the ego starts to dissolve, so does the world it built around you. You begin to see that many of society's rules are arbitrary. Time itself is a concept we've agreed upon. Money is paper we've assigned value to. Borders are imaginary lines drawn on maps. Even your sense of self is shaped by external labels, your nationality, your career, your relationships. None of it is inherently real. It's all part of the human-made game we've collectively agreed to play. But here's the kicker: awakening doesn't free you from the game. It just makes you aware of it. And that awareness can be overwhelming. You feel disconnected from people still trapped in the illusion, yet you're still bound by its rules. You still need to pay bills, interact with society, and navigate systems you no longer believe in. This disillusionment can lead to despair. But it doesn't have to. Because once you understand why the world feels fake, you can begin to see the deeper truth beneath the illusion. And that truth changes everything. The question is, how do you live in a world that feels fake without losing your mind? The answer lies in ancient wisdom and modern insights. So let's take a look at that. For centuries, philosophers, mystics, and seekers have wrestled with the question, what is reality? After awakening, this question isn't just philosophical, it's personal. You feel it in your bones. The world feels like a set of stage props, and everyone around you seems hypnotized, acting out scripts they didn't write. Plato saw this illusion over 2,000 years ago. His allegory of the cave describes people chained inside a cave, mistaking shadows on the wall for reality. When one prisoner escapes and sees the outside world, the truth, they return to free the others. But the prisoners, comfortable in their illusion, refuse to believe the outside world exists. Sound familiar? Awakening feels exactly like that escape. You see the light, but when you try to share it, most people dismiss you as crazy, naive, or even dangerous. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of Maya, the cosmic illusion, explains that what we perceive as reality is actually a veil over the ultimate truth. The material world is transient, ever changing, and deceptive. It keeps us entangled in desires, fears, and suffering. Awakening is the process of piercing through Maya to see the eternal, unchanging essence beneath, the true self, or Atman. And once you've seen through Maya, the world's illusions become painfully obvious. But what if this isn't just ancient philosophy? What if science is catching up to what mystics have always known? The simulation hypothesis, popularized by thinkers like Nick Bostrom, proposes that our entire reality might be a sophisticated simulation created by an advanced civilization. Every experience, every sensation, could be nothing more than lines of code. While this sounds like science fiction, consider this: if technology continues to advance, wouldn't future civilizations create simulations indistinguishable from reality? And if that's possible, how do we know we're not already living in one? This convergence of ancient spiritual wisdom and modern scientific theory isn't accidental. Both point to the same unsettling idea: the reality we trust is not as solid as it seems.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. a community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
But here's where most people get stuck. After awakening, it's easy to spiral into nihilism. If everything is an illusion, does anything matter? Why bother with relationships, careers, or dreams in a world that feels so artificial? But that's where awakening offers not despair, but liberation. Once you see that the world is a construct, you realize you're not bound by its rules. The illusions that trap others no longer hold power over you. And while the game might be rigged, awakening gives you a new advantage: awareness. The question now is, how do you navigate this world when everything feels unreal? How do you build a life of meaning when the structures around you feel hollow? That's the real challenge of awakening. And the answer is coming. Because while awakening dismantles your old reality, it also gives you the blueprint to build a new one. One grounded not in illusions, but in truth. And that's what we'll uncover next. So, you've awakened. The veil has lifted. But now what? How do you exist in a world that feels counterfeit without slipping into despair or isolation? The answer isn't to escape the world, but to master how you move through it. First, you have to ground yourself. After awakening, it's easy to get lost in existential thoughts. Everything feels meaningless, and the temptation to detach completely is strong. But grounding doesn't mean surrendering to the illusion. It means anchoring yourself in the present moment, even if the world around you feels like a dream. Meditation isn't just a trendy buzzword, it's a survival tool. It pulls you out of the mental noise and back into your body, your breath, your existence. This is where real clarity begins. Finding purpose after awakening is another challenge. The old goals, climbing the corporate ladder, buying status symbols, seeking approval, feel absurd now. But awakening isn't the end of your journey, it's the beginning of a new one. Your purpose isn't handed to you by society anymore. It's something you cultivate from within. What lights you up? What feels authentic? For many, this shift leads to creative expression, helping others awaken, or living more simply and intentionally. The key is to build a life aligned with your truth, not society's expectations. But here's where most awakened souls struggle: connection. You'll find that many people in your life are still plugged into the illusion, and your new perspective can make you feel like an outsider. Don't waste your energy trying to wake them up. That's not your responsibility. Instead, seek out those who resonate with your journey. Books, podcasts, and online communities are invaluable. The more you surround yourself with like-minded individuals, the less isolated you'll feel. And then there's the paradox of living in a fake world while being awake. Yes, the systems are flawed. Yes, much of what we chase is meaningless. But that doesn't mean you can't engage with the world in a way that feels real to you. The world is your canvas now. You don't have to reject it completely. You just have to stop letting it define you. Create, explore, connect, and live with intention. Every moment you choose authenticity over illusion is an act of rebellion against the system designed to keep you asleep. Navigating life after awakening isn't about escaping the fake world. It's about mastering it. It's about using your awareness to move through the illusion with purpose, clarity, and freedom. But knowing this is just the start. The real question is, how do you maintain this awareness every day? How do you keep from falling back into the illusion? The tools exist, and they're not hidden. We'll explore them next, because once you have them, everything changes. Thriving after awakening isn't about rejecting the world entirely. It's about mastering your inner world so external illusions lose their grip on you. And the tools to do this aren't mystical secrets. They're practical, ancient, and accessible. But most people overlook them because they seem too simple. First, mindfulness. Not as a trendy buzzword, but as a weapon against the endless mental chatter that keeps you trapped in illusion. Mindfulness isn't about sitting cross-legged for hours. It's about becoming hyper, aware of the present moment. When you're mindful, you stop reacting to the world's distractions and start observing them. The endless news cycles, social media drama, and societal pressures lose power when you see them for what they are: noise. By practicing mindfulness daily, whether through meditation, breathing exercises, or simply being fully present in mundane tasks, you create a mental clarity that cuts through the fog of illusion. Conscious relationships are another critical tool. After awakening, surface-level interactions feel unbearable. The small talk, the performative friendships, the people still lost in the game, they drain you. Seek relationships built on truth, vulnerability, and growth. Surround yourself with individuals who challenge you to evolve, not conform. And remember, quality over quantity. One genuine connection is worth more than 100 superficial ones. Then there's integration. Awakening isn't a destination, it's a continuous process. Integrating your awakened state into daily life means aligning your actions with your newfound awareness. It means questioning your choices. Am I doing this because it's true to me, or because society expects it? Whether it's your career, lifestyle, or even your consumption habits, integration is about living intentionally. Every conscious choice you make reinforces your freedom from the illusion. But here's where most falter. They awaken, but then slip back into old patterns. Why? Because the world is designed to pull you back in. Constant distractions, fear-based narratives, and societal pressures act like gravity, dragging you back into unconscious living. This is why daily practices like journaling, solitude, and even digital detoxes are essential. They keep you grounded, aware, and aligned. Ultimately, these tools aren't just survival mechanisms. They're your path to thriving. Thriving doesn't mean living in constant bliss. It means living with clarity, purpose, and freedom in a world built on illusions. And while the illusion won't disappear, your ability to navigate it will transform. But what does it mean to truly embrace this paradox? That the world is fake, yet your journey through it is profoundly real. Understanding this paradox isn't just the key to surviving awakening. It's the key to mastering it. The world feels fake, but your awakening is real. This is the paradox you must embrace. Yes, society is built on illusions, money, status, time, even identity, but your experience of breaking free is undeniable. The challenge isn't escaping the illusion, it's learning to live within it without being consumed by it. Embracing this paradox means accepting that while the world operates on falsehoods, your journey through it still holds meaning. The illusion doesn't negate your existence, it highlights your awareness. Every moment you remain conscious in a world designed to keep you asleep is a victory. Every choice you make from a place of authenticity chips away at the illusion's power over you. But awakening isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process of peeling back layers. Just when you think you've seen it all, another layer reveals itself. And that's okay. The goal isn't to reach some final destination of enlightenment. The goal is to stay awake, even when the illusion tries to pull you back in. So, where does that leave you? It leaves you with a choice. You can spend your life lamenting the fake nature of the world, or you can use your awareness as a tool. You can create, love, and live with intention, knowing that while the world might be an illusion, your impact within it is very real. The journey doesn't end here. Awakening is a process, not a conclusion. But now, you have the understanding and the tools to navigate this world with clarity and purpose. The illusion won't disappear, but your perspective has changed forever. And that perspective is your greatest power. So here you are, standing at the edge of the illusion with eyes wide open. The world hasn't changed, but you have. And that changes everything. The real challenge after awakening isn't escaping the fake world. It's refusing to let it numb you again. It's easy to fall back into the trap, to let the noise drown out your clarity, to let the systems of control seduce you with comfort and convenience. But the cost of that comfort is your consciousness. And you've come too far to trade your awareness for an easy life. This is the paradox you must embrace. The world is fake, but your experience of it is not. Every moment of presence, every act of conscious choice, every connection built on truth rather than performance, these are real. In a world full of illusions, authenticity becomes your rebellion. Living with intention becomes your revolution. And here's the ultimate truth. The illusion will never stop trying to pull you back in. The distractions, the fear, the pressure to conform, they don't go away. But once you've awakened, they lose their grip. Because now, you see them for what they are. You're not alone in this. There's an entire unseen network of awakened souls navigating this same journey, each one finding their own way through the maze. And now, you have the tools to join them, not as someone lost in the illusion, but as someone who sees through it and thrives anyway. The question isn't whether the world will ever feel real again. It won't. The question is whether you'll let that stop you from living fully, consciously, and unapologetically awake. And that choice is yours to make. So, that's it. You've made it to the end, but this isn't the finish line. It's the beginning. Now you know why the world feels fake, why everything around you seems like a shallow performance, and why awakening shatters every illusion you once clung to. But more importantly, you now have the tools to navigate this reality without losing yourself. The world will keep spinning, the systems will keep grinding, and the distractions will never stop. But now, you see the strings. You know the game is rigged. And that awareness gives you something most people will never have: freedom. Not the illusion of freedom sold by governments or corporations, but real, unshakable inner freedom. You'll still face challenges. You'll still feel the weight of the illusion pressing down on you. But you'll also know that every conscious choice you make is a rebellion against that weight. Every moment of mindfulness is an act of defiance. Every genuine connection is a crack in the facade. And every time you choose authenticity over conformity, you reclaim your power. Remember, awakening isn't about escaping the world. It's about mastering your experience within it. The world might be an illusion, but your journey through it is real. Your growth is real. Your awareness is real. And that's all that matters. So, as you step back into the world, don't forget what you've uncovered here. Don't let the noise pull you back into unconscious living. Stay awake. Stay aware. And most importantly, stay true to yourself. This is Forbidden Texts, where ancient knowledge meets modern awakening. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep breaking free.